Both of these guys are incredibly tough. Glayton has amazing fundamental jiu-jitsu. I'm interested to see how this match goes.
I think it depends if he's done his homework on, Dave and, how he plays in his game. Dave's a master at his game, so if you play into it, you're going to get caught.
I think that's very well said, and one of the things that some of Glayton's friends have expressed concern to me about is, like, does Glayton's game play into Dave's game? Because Glayton's game is super dangerous, but fairly straightforward. Like, good, solid fundamental jiu-jitsu, nice little takedown there from Glayton. But Dave doesn't mind being on his back, he doesn't mind giving up bad positions, and he does some very unorthodox things.
Like this loop choke he's trying to set up right now.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh.
It'll be interesting to see how Dave pans out in the later minutes. We had a conversation earlier about how he's dieted to get down in this weight. So interested to see how he performs in the later minutes, 10, 12, 14 minutes.
I was actually talking with Dave last night where he said, if I ever try to cut to the 160s again, smack me with a stick. And I was like, why do you do this to yourself? These are... But Dave has this sort of honor code where he wants to be as close to his opponent's weight as possible, even if they don't ask him to make that weight. And I admire it, even if I don't understand it myself.
Yeah, I definitely respectable. It's he lives by his warrior code, which I think we each all do it to respect. And he doesn't want to have any excuses. Oh, well, so-and-so was 5 pounds heavier than me. So-and-so was wearing this color gi. I see with my kids now how many excuses can come, and I try and shut that down now with my kids. Be like, look, it doesn't matter. You go out there, you do some jiu-jitsu, you're fine.
Totally. I always tell people that you have to be so much better, fair doesn't matter. And that's the mentality you kind of have to get into. So Glayton inside control on Dave now, which does not mean Glayton is safe from Dave's attacks.
No, and being that I fought Dave last time is, I may have gotten to a dominant position a couple of times, but he can get back to a guard position at any moment. Give him just an inch of space.
Dave taught a seminar on his Darce choke at Elevate MMA, and I don't think Glayton was around then, but one of the setups that he showed was this Darce choke from underneath side control, which he's gotten really high-level opponents with. So I'm not sure if that's what his game plan is today, but we'll see. Oh, Dave has done this to me, where he does the far side arm trap with his legs.
It looked like he threatened a wrist lock for a second.
In between rounds, I'm sorry.
Cool. Oh, no problem. So, Glayton has seemed content to sort of control side position. I haven't seen him try to go for anything. I will tell you, Glayton has very dangerous wrist locks from top side control that everybody at his gym Elevate talks about, and I've been caught with. So, which doesn't mean he's going to get Dave, but it is something he will attack.
He may be better staying in side control. Dave is good at escaping the mount. Dave does not give up his back. My match against him, that I was specifically looking, he's going for a wrist lock right now. Dave has super flexible wrists though, so it's going to be hard to catch. And he gives a thumbs up on the way out.
Yeah. That's another thing Dave will do. He is, if nothing else, a showman.
Yeah. And which could play to his strength because you could frustrate somebody on top. You know, when you're rolling with somebody and continually trying to submit him and nothing you throw at him catches, you know, that can wear on you mentally a little bit. So we'll see how he addresses that.
So this is
isolating that left arm of Dave.
one thing that's interesting rolling with Dave, and I'm interested to hear if this is your experience competing with him. He's almost a counter fighter, where he's waiting to see what you do before he decides what he's going to do, and doesn't often seek to impose his own game so much as, oh, Glayton is trying to put my arm on the far side, I will go for my far side attacks as opposed to trying to force something.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best representation of Dave's game. He is very much a counter fighter, and doesn't impose his will, which can be very difficult. You know, when there's no back and forth. You know, if all he does is let you give or let you take, I should say, and there's no give back, and sometimes it's hard. It's hard to submit somebody that doesn't want to do any submissions.
I'll be interested to see if Glayton is continually trying to isolate that far arm. He's gone for that crunch arm bar before. It's also, I've seen him go for the far side arm bar. And as I mentioned, he has wrist locks from here that he attacks the guy's frame. Looks like he's playing with his own lapel there for a second, so.
Yeah, definitely, Dave, you're going to have to catch him on the third or fourth submission and get him in that chain. I don't know if you're going to catch him on the first try. You have to set some things up. Try and get him down your rabbit hole.
Yes, well said. Another thing you'll see, and styles and rule sets create a lot of the dynamics in matchups. This is one of the reasons Dave is so comfortable in true submission-only format, is he'll give up bad positions like this without thinking about it. Whereas, if this were a points match, Glayton would be well up on points. We just saw him go knee on belly. Oh, now Dave with a sneaky armbar attack.
8 minutes.
I love the long matches because you really get to see guys work in a variety of different positions. Be interested to see if Dave goes back to that loop choke.
It's there. It's always a constant threat. I enjoy threatening that loop choke because Glayton is comfortable with him having that high collar grip, and that's really not something you want to do. You want to strip that away fast. Great job passing, getting away from that lapel grip. But right back to square one, basically. Dave on his back, comfortable in bottom side control. He was a tough nut to crack. I wasn't able to crack him,
Yeah. I mean, you were able to you won on that match on points.
Yeah, the sudden. We went to the sudden overtime, and
then you guys
shot in. Yeah, I shot in.
That's the thing about Dave is, like you mentioned, it's difficult to submit someone who is not themselves attacking, and it's also difficult to submit someone who has a really good submission defense, which Dave Porter also does, which is why he can be so comfortable in a bad spot like this.
Yeah, his joints are abnormally flexible, and you see it in his wrists. Like Glayton just had a tight wrist lock earlier, and it was like any normal person probably would have tapped, and he was just like, thumbs up.
I don't think anyone would dare call Dave Porter a normal person.
I don't think any of us are. If we, if you spend most of your time choking your friends out and trying to break each other's limbs, and then go eat dinner with them afterwards, none of us are normal by normal standards.
Well said. Yeah, so Team Hubao Karaoke really performing well today. We saw Stafford Hamilton just win by Kimura, Sean Burton with a nice heel hook.
Great Kimura, yeah. I think they got a little extra motivation,
It has to feel good, right, to perform in front of the professor.
Yeah. Anytime that, Gustavo is where I'm at competing, it always gives me a little extra I feel invincible, and especially someone you look up to so much can be there and show their support, it means a lot.
Oh, for sure. So a lot of times, we're taught that keeping your arm on that side of the head, inside control, is the wrong side, and generally speaking it is. Dave will put his hand on the wrong side to try to set up Darce choke from the bottom. I'm sure some of Glayton's Elevate teammates have told him about that, and now Dave wraps the lapel across to Glayton's far side shoulder. Not really sure what he's setting up there.
I think he's trying to isolate that arm to maybe bring his right elbow across to set up that darce. So, in the push-pull kind of game, he's pulling on that arm maybe to make Glayton push it through, possibly. It's hard, to have absolutes in jiu-jitsu. You can say, hey, don't do this, but then you run across a guy like Dave Porter, they can get away with those kind of things.
I always tell people, like, when I'm teaching classes, I always tell people, when I say always, hear 98%.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's always that guy that,
Nice reversal.
Yeah, the harpoon reversal.
It's rare to see Dave kind of use explosiveness.
It
He
is.
must be, he must feel like he has a setup somewhere or something.
It looked like he had one in, one out for the dart.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yep.
looks like he's got it, yes. Oh.
Yeah, and Oak's tight. He's going to walk his hips up.
He's going to try to trap Glayton's leg with his top leg. Oh. Glayton Melo escapes.
It looked tight, too.
It did look tight.
We'll see what that did to Dave's gas tank.
Yep. The other thing too is like part of why I'm never comfortable on bottom side control. Partly because I'm not as good at Dave Porter at defense or at anything really. But part of it is also like I feel myself wearing out when I have to carry somebody's weight, like particularly somebody that knows how to exert top pressure. And so you mentioned Dave's gas tank. It'll be interesting to see if being under Glayton this long has taken something out of him. And as you mentioned, the weight cut, he was in an infrared sauna until late last night, so I wonder if that'll show up in the points round if we get to the points round. We still have a little over.
Possible. That was a nice little exchange, and hopefully he can recover from that. Maybe he has one or two more bursts of energy like that.
Glayton does not seem tired. And Glayton has been playing a very patient and careful game, it seems to me. Which is easy when you're on top.
Yeah. And I think he's done his homework because he has not transitioned past side control. He stayed cross-body the entire time, won a pinny on belly one time. I think he knows that Dave is good at defending full mount.
Sorry, man. I wonder if Glayton's going to try to set up a butcher choke here. He used that grip in the collar before to set up to go to knee on belly. This has been a very interesting chess match between two guys who are both difficult matchups for anybody. Oh. Thought he was going to go for it. Baited them out there. Oh.
Yeah, he's done his homework. He didn't want to stay there long, but now Dave's got his right knee on the inside.
That was interesting. Ordinarily, in most black belt matches, you'd never pass up a chance to mount in the gi. And at least, again, not always never. But.
Yeah.
This is an interesting sort of cat and mouse game because Dave is clearly trying to bait Glayton.
And he's not taking the bait at all.
I think intelligently, I think this is a situation where, a lot of times your ego gets in the way and you're like, oh, you don't think I can get that arm? I'll get that arm.
Yeah, ego and frustration. Forearm trap, working it up the arm.
Oh.
Possible inverted triangle.
It did look like he was looking for that inverted triangle. Glayton with his hips flat against the mat defending. So this will be a very interesting, I assume at this point we are going to get to the points round. And this will be a fascinating points round. Because for now, Dave's strategy during this has basically been, let's see what Glayton, try and submit me, try and submit me, try and submit me. And in the points round, that's not going to be a strategy. That's going to be a win-win.
Yeah. But Dave, this might be part of his game plan too. He has not exerted a lot of energy defending the guard passes. He's kind of just let him go to side control. So that could play in his favor in the points round because Dave does have a very tough guard to pass. It was a very tough guard to pass last time when I fought him. Dave's a very smart and calculated fighter. He does something for a reason.
And now he has that mongoose stance that he's famous for. Sits to guard.
In which Glayton could have taken advantage of that and shot in and got an easy 2 points.
I always wonder why guys don't do that, because the advantage to playing guard in jiu-jitsu is it's neutral points, and now it's easier generally to sweep than it is to pass. And I always wonder why guys don't just grab that heel, grab that knee, and take the top position. Wow! Just as we say, Dave's guard tough to pass. Glayton passes it for 3 points, and this is and here's the thing, I've been talking about, and I'll be interested in your perspective on this too. First to score is such a big advantage in a short points round. You got 5 minutes, and now you have to take chances. You might be someone that's comfortable on your back, comfortable defending, but now, if you don't score, you lose.
Yeah, and I've always come from, my background was wrestling, and that was pushed to us in wrestling was first to score. More times than not, will win the match. If you can impose your will, get on your game plan. Now the other person has to play catch up, which can open up mistakes and open up for further things. So
there's so much those two grappling arts can learn from each other in terms of mentality, and that if you could, and this is something I think you do well in your matches, is if you fuse the smooth technique of jiu-jitsu, which is not to say wrestling's not technical, because it absolutely is, but the smooth technique focus of jiu-jitsu with the grit and pressure and push, go of wrestling. That makes for such entertaining matches and some nightmarish matchups.
100%. And somebody put it to me best. Think about a Venn diagram. You have two separate things, and they kind of meet the center, and that's where they share those characteristics. And I think that it does make for exciting matches.
Absolutely. If you have a guy with this beautiful technique that doesn't stop moving and is relentless,
look
awesome
at Melo, Checha, all those guys. They have a good blend, and they work with wrestling coaches.
Cobrinha too.
Cobrinha. At the end of the day, grappling is grappling. You have different rule sets, you have different things you look for, but I think everything can kind of blend in its own right. Setting up lapel stuff. Really, Glayton's got no, he doesn't have to go any much further than that. He can pretty much,
2.5 minutes.
Now he's setting,
Yeah, he's got that lapel fed on the far side of Glayton's neck, and now he's looking for almost a scissor choke. One thing about Dave Porter, and why I think he loses a lot of matches that he should on paper win, is that he doesn't really pay attention to points. And he's always going for the finish, which I think is admirable. But I like winning. It's better than lose.
Yeah, and there's a nice little reversal.
Yep. Dave's still down 3 points. Dave has to pass.
He does. I think you can look in his eyes right now. He's got a little bit of fire, so we'll see if he follows up. I would like to see him, kind of embrace the position more, because he would be, like you said, a lot more successful. He's a very awesome competitor, and some of that mentality that he has kind of, like you said, loses some matches that he should win. You just got to play the game sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I will actually be very interested to see whether Dave attempts to pass or attempts to enter the legs and tries to footlock him. Because Dave has very good footlocks. Just taught a seminar has a new DVD about the straight ankle lock. Well, he's trying to bait Glayton to grab his foot. And he may not try to pass. He may try to enter the legs and get a submission. Got a minute left in this match.
One minute remaining. 1 minute.
Guard's open. Isolating that left leg.
Yeah, I think we're going to see him attack that left leg.
think they would always prefer to get a finish versus points.
100% yes.
That way there's no excuse. You know.
In his match with Adam Jetton, I actually shouted at him when he was in 50-50. I was like, Dave, you can come up and get your points. And he looks at me and laughs. Absolutely.
You guys have my size?
Absolutely. 1 second.
So Glayton Melo wins 3-0. It's a good fight.
Somebody so good at shooting.